The Angels of Absolution are a loyalist chapter of the Adeptus Astartes created during the course of the Second Founding, descended from the Dark Angels Legion of the Legione Astartes. Like other Dark Angel successor chapters, the Angels of Absolution boast an organizational structure and cultural mindset that is in many ways highly similar to that of their primogenitors, boasting their own equivalents to the specialist Deathwing and Ravenwing companies, as well as being known to partake in the hunt for the Fallen, those members of the original Dark Angels Legion that turned traitor during the course of the Horus Heresy. Unlike the other members of the Unforgiven, the collective term given to both the Dark Angels and their successor chapters, the Angels of Absolution do not consider themselves to be personally responsible for the sins of their ancestors. Instead, the Angels of Absolution believe that they, along with those that had turned against their legion, have long been exonerated of any crimes that had been committed by their forefathers. How the Angels of Absolution arrived at such a conclusion is a matter for debate, as none from outside of the chapter's inner circle truly know with any degree of certainty. Some have suggested that the chapter may have captured a significant number of Fallen and succeeded in making them repent for their crimes, while others have speculated that the chapter may have extracted some form of confession or recantation from a high-ranking member of the Fallen, which in turn absolved them of their sins. While the Angels of Absolution believe themselves to be now free of sin in the eyes of the Emperor, the chapter will nonetheless continue to assist their fellow Unforgiven chapters in their respective hunts for the Fallen, so that they too may one day be finally granted absolution. Nonetheless, there are many who believe that the unique beliefs held by the Angels of Absolution may one day result in a schism occurring within the ranks of the Unforgiven. In light of recent events, such a schism may very well be underway. In early M42, Gohoriel, a member of the Fallen who had dedicated themselves to the Chaos god Tzeentch, would travel to All Hallow, the homeworld of the Angels of Absolution, before unleashing a psychic plague upon the world's civilian population. While the Angels of Absolution would remain seemingly unaware of Gohoriel's presence upon their world, warriors from the Dark Angels chapter who had been hunting the sorcerer would learn that he had made planetfall upon their brother chapter's homeworld. However, this would leave the Dark Angels facing a dilemma, as while they sought to hunt down Gohoriel and purge those that had been infected with the psychic plague in order to slow and ultimately halt the rate of infection, there was little that the Dark Angels could do about their actions arousing the suspicion of others, such as the Inquisition or the Angels of Absolution themselves, due to the simple fact that a member of the Fallen was involved. Nonetheless, a small strike force of Dark Angels would make their way to All Hallow's surface to do what little they could. To the surprise of the Dark Angels, it would be the Tau Empire's fourth sphere of expansion that would ultimately provide a solution to their conundrum. The Tau, who had also been tracking the source of the psychic plague, which had been affecting the human population of at least one of their recently acquired worlds, would strike a bargain with the Dark Angels after realizing that they appeared to share a common foe. In exchange for purging the infected human population of Saltire Vex, the Tau would perform the same task upon All Hallow, allowing both factions to eliminate those that had succumbed to the plague without having to murder those that were loyal to their own respective causes. The Dark Angels would agree to this proposal, and to aid the Tau in rooting out those that had contracted the plague, they would gift the Xenos with an artifact known as a Psyocule. The Psyocule was itself little more than a cybernetically altered skull, which, in essence, acted as a type of psychic divining rod, as the teeth of the skull would chatter together with greater frequency and intensity the closer it got to those that had contracted the psychic plague. This in turn would allow the Tau to successfully hunt down and purge much, if not all of those that had succumbed to the infection upon All Hallow, and in turn finally begin halting the spread of the contagion entirely. Eventually, however, the Tau would turn their attention towards the Angels of Absolution themselves, with the warrior known as Kais the Living Weapon successfully infiltrating the chapter's fortress monastery whilst piloting an XV-95 Ghost Keel type battlesuit. After making his way deep into the heart of their monastery, Kais would finally engage the Angels of Absolution in battle. Utilizing the intense firepower of his ghost keel, Kais would unleash a storm of destruction upon the Astartes, slaughtering close to 24 Space Marines single-handedly, including a librarian who appeared to be infected with the psychic plague. Eventually, the Angels of Absolution would order for an orbiting ship to target the battlesuit with a concentrated lance strike, finally bringing an end to the Tau's bloody rampage. Despite the ghost keel being all but destroyed, Kais himself would manage to eject from his battlesuit before escaping during the ensuing confusion. When Modron, the chapter master of the Angels of Absolution, inspected the remains of the ghost keel, he would discover the presence of the Psyocule within the battlesuit's cockpit. As the artifact continued to slowly chatter away, Modron, disgusted by the object, would begin to wrap up the Psyocule within a torn banner in order to hide it from sight. However, as he performed this task, he would discover, to his horror, that the artifact was branded with the sigil of the Dark Angels. Since the Angels of Absolution are now aware that the Dark Angels had aided the Tau in purging the population of All Hallow, could such a revelation lead towards the two chapters coming into conflict with one another? Before confronting the Dark Angels, it seems likely that Modron would hold a council with his chapter's senior officers, such as Chief Librarian, Reclusiarch, and the captains of the various companies, in order to discuss what course of action the Angels of Absolution should take. Undoubtedly, there would be much debate in this regard, as some of the chapter's officers would more than likely refuse to accept the notion of their parent chapter aiding a Xenos faction, not only due to how supposedly xenophobic the Dark Angels are when compared to other Space Marine chapters, but the very idea of the Dark Angels colluding with the Tau in order to assault the homeworld of their brothers would be considered tantamount to heresy. As such, some of the senior officers within the Angels of Absolution may instead suggest that the Tau had simply stolen the Psyocule from the Dark Angels, as opposed to them having been gifted with such a device. Nonetheless, Modron, as chapter master, would more than likely feel compelled to question the Dark Angels about such an action regardless, if only to allay the concerns of his officers. Such a confrontation could potentially go one of 3 different ways. The first of which is that the Dark Angels simply deny their involvement in aiding the Tau's purging of All Hallow. To this end, the Dark Angels may in fact choose to falsely inform their successors that the Psyocule had been stolen during an undocumented engagement against the Tau, as opposed to admitting that they had in fact bestowed such an object to the Xenos. While such a cover story would obviously be little more than lies and deception, the Angels of Absolution could potentially be satisfied with such an answer, and may even send a number of envoys to return the Psyocule to their parent chapter as a sign of good faith. The second possibility, however, is that the Dark Angels admit the truth to Modron. Since the psychic plague that had spread across the surface of All Hallow was directly caused by one of the Fallen, then the Dark Angels could argue that they simply had no choice in utilizing the Tau to eliminate those that had become infected, so as to prevent others from learning about the existence of the Fallen. After all, if the Dark Angels had themselves chosen to instigate a purge of those that had succumbed to the plague, either through launching a full-scale assault upon the world or even subjecting All Hallow to exterminatus, then such an act could have drawn the attentions of both the Inquisition as well as those members of the Angels of Absolution who themselves may remain ignorant of the Fallen. Such a notion wouldn't be entirely unfeasible, for within the ranks of the Unforgiven chapters, it is only once a battle brother becomes inducted into the ranks of the Deathwing, or their chapter's Deathwing equivalent, that they will come to learn the true extent of their legion's sordid past, as well as the existence of the Fallen. Because Modron, as the master of this chapter, would be aware of this web of secrecy regarding the activities of the Fallen, then it is possible that, while he may not appreciate being kept in the dark about the psychic plague that had been unleashed by a member of the Fallen, he would nonetheless understand that the Dark Angels did what they had to do. Regardless, Modron would more than likely seek to avenge those warriors that were slain during Kais's rampage, even if only through something as simple and symbolic as an honor duel. But should the Dark Angels confirm to the Angels of Absolution that they had indeed allowed the Tau to purge the people of All Hallow, which, to reiterate, also resulted in the deaths of approximately 24 Space Marines, then Modron may very well accuse the Dark Angels of being traitors to not only the Imperium, but also to their very bloodline. In turn, this could very well lead to the Angels of Absolution and the Dark Angels coming to blows over the latter's actions, although such a conflict may, admittedly, not come about immediately. Should the other Unforgiven chapters learn of this hypothetical conflict between the Dark Angels and the Angels of Absolution, then this could inevitably see the various Dark Angel successor chapters being forced to pick a side. Since the Angels of Absolution have a mindset that is so radically different from that of most other Dark Angel successors in regards to the guilt and shame associated with the existence of the Fallen, then many of the older founding chapters may choose to align themselves with the Dark Angels due to either believing that their actions were completely justified or even out of a simple loyalty to their primogenitors. By contrast, a number of later founding chapters, particularly those that were created during the course of the Ultima Founding, may instead choose to side with the Angels of Absolution, viewing the very notion of the Dark Angels lending their aid to the Tau in order to purge All Hallow's population as a betrayal of their gene brothers. Given that the chapters created during the course of the Ultima Founding are comprised entirely of Primaris Marines, which the Dark Angels themselves initially viewed with distrust, then it's entirely possible that most, if not all, of the Dark Angel successor chapters that were created during this particular founding, such as the Blades of Vengeance or Angels of Defiance, may themselves remain unaware of both the existence of the Fallen, as well as the truth behind the destruction of their legion's homeworld of Caliban. Admittedly, however, there is a minute possibility that the chapter masters of these later founding chapters have indeed been entrusted with such confidential information, although this remains unconfirmed. But if such a conflict were to ever occur, regardless as to whether it remained purely between the Dark Angels and the Angels of Absolution, or if other chapters would also be drawn in to create, in essence, an unforgiven civil war, then such actions may inevitably draw the attentions of the High Lords of Terror, the Inquisition, or even that of the Imperial Regent and Primarch of the Ultramarines Legion, Rubicante Guilliman himself. This particular situation would be one that the Unforgiven would seek to avoid at all costs, lest other Imperial organizations also come to learn of their darkest secrets. So adamant are the Dark Angels in ensuring that no others, aside from their fellow Unforgiven chapters, become aware of the Fallen, that they have even been known to eliminate or imprison those that were unfortunate enough to obtain such information, even if unintentionally. One such example, as shown within the short story Azrael, Protector of Secrets, shows the Dark Angels and Astra Militarum attempting to put down an insurgency upon the world of Xemeta 7. However, upon discovering that the planetary governor who had instigated such a rebellion was in fact one of the Fallen, Azrael would order for the Dark Angels to eliminate their guardsmen allies, in order to keep such knowledge hidden from all others. Because of this, should any conflict arise between the Dark Angels and the Angels of Absolution, then it may be restricted to a number of smaller skirmishes or perhaps even a bloody and intense honor duel between their respective chapter masters. Until the Angels of Absolution confront the Dark Angels about their role in the purging of All Hallow, we can only imagine what the consequences of such actions would be. What do you think? Leave a comment below, and thanks for watching.